Welcome back, guys, to My Name is Malone Chapter 2. My computer died in the middle of recording the second part of Chapter 2, unfortunately, so I am on the floor because I needed to be close to the wall so that my computer could charge. So the pups are super curious to hear what happens next, so you might see them in the background or climbing on me. We will just try to stay focused on the book. He, meaning Jimmy, pointed at a beautiful house across the street. It was that place there. Is there any way you and me could eat the rest and let Ma and Pa think we gave it back? We could leave the tin on the porch. Are you crazy? I had to give it a try. Come on, let's get this over with. We're not going to give that poor woman a pie that was dropped on the ground and that a dog has been licking. Can you believe that, Stella? We've got to get rid of it. He said, I'll drop it in the sewer. I bet the rats won't mind a little dog slob. I started to hand the pie to Jimmy, then stopped. What he said made me think. It was such a beautiful pie that it did seem a shame to waste. But there was no way me and Jimmy would eat it. The Malones shouldn't get anything good from something that Jimmy stole. I pulled the tin back. No, come on. Some poor people do live in this park. They sleep in huts, in tents, in the woods, and we should give human beings things first to see if they would like to have the pie. Except for the big baseball diamond and the stands, the park, sorry about that, isn't really much of a park. It's just 4 swing sets and 3 or 4 picnic benches next to the woods. As me and Jimmy walked between the trees, we could see 3 saggy, sad-looking children sitting in front of each one. Each one of the cardboard huts, there was a group of women and the children sat there. I walked over to the hut with most of the children. A woman looked up. Hello, dear. Hello, ma'am. My name is Deza Malone, and my brother made a mistake and took a pie from someone, and we were going to return it to the woman, but I found out at the last minute that half of the pie got chewed up by a dog. Jimmy cut all the doggy parts off of the pie and wiped the dog's spit from the rest. It's the most beautiful pie I've ever seen, and I thought it would be a shame to throw it away. I was wondering if you and your kids might like to have it instead. I took the dish rag off, and the woman said, Now, that's a pie. Sweetheart, thank you very much. We would love to have it. She laughed. A little dog slob could never ruin a fine pie like this. Besides, do you know how many times we've had to fight dogs off of something that we were going to eat? She dipped her finger in the juices and closed her eyes. Whoever baked this pie knew what she was doing. She pulled a piece of apple out of the pie and reached it to me. She said, I think if you ate one little bit, it wouldn't hurt. We won't let the thief have any of it if that makes you feel better. Jimmy said I paid her some money. The woman said, Boy, hush. It's rude to refuse food if someone offers it. Even if it tastes terrible and makes you want to gag, you still have to tell them how much you appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am. I put the piece of apple in my mouth. Eating this pie must be what it feels like to read the greatest book ever at the same time that you're sitting in a bathtub full of soapy bubbles like a rich white woman in a magazine. The woman called out, Rosalind, Colleen, come here and bring a sharp knife. This child has gone to heaven and brought back a little piece for us. She said, Can y'all stay for supper? The men should be back with some catfish. Thank you, ma'am, but we have to get this pie tin back. She slid the pie onto a piece of cardboard and looked at Jimmy. Son, you're so young. You need to learn not to thieve folks' food. Cut it out. Jimmy said, I'm 15. She looked surprised. I don't care how old you are. What kind of example are you setting for this girl here? Jimmy said, I know it was a mistake. I said I was going to apologize. Fine, but before you do, could the two of you do me a favor? While you're at the Pie Lady's house, could you distract her so the thief here could stuff a couple more of them under his shirt for me? Even Jimmy laughed. Thank you, ma'am. We've got to be going. She said, no, sweetheart, thank you. I wiped the tin with the dish rag as we headed toward the house of the best baker in the world. That was chapter 2. The title of chapter 3 is going to kind of leave me in suspense until tomorrow when we read this chapter together. It's called The Pie Lady's Revenge. Whoa. Makes me a little bit nervous for Deza and Jimmy. We'll have to see what happens to them next time. So what I'm thinking about doing, I think I may have mentioned it in the last video, but it's been a while since I've been able to put my laptop on the charger and can't quite remember. I'm going to, unless somebody requests differently or I get suggestions to do it differently, I am going to post these questions on OneDrive. The link will be in the description of this video and the last video, so that you can go over these questions at home with an adult or an older sibling. And then I will go over the answers with you on Fridays. And I will also upload the answers on Fridays because it seems like not everybody is tuning in every night like I was really hoping and anticipating listening to each chapter of the story. So it wouldn't make sense for me to start the next day's video with answers to the last day's video if you guys aren't tuning in. So Fridays, we will dedicate, they're at it again. We will dedicate Fridays to answering reading comprehension questions. See if you can focus. They're interesting. So chapter 1 for the chapter 2 quiz. Sorry, question 1. What dessert did Jimmy pull out after dinner? Was it a pineapple upside down cake, homemade ice cream, brownies, or a pie? Question 2. How did Jimmy break his deal with Deza? He didn't ask before he made his choice. He did not copy her homework. He did all of the dishes without her. Or he ate food without her. Question 3. How much time does Father give Deza to take the pie back to the place near the park? Was it 1 hour? That's a good question, by the way. Was it 20 minutes? Was it 45 minutes? Or was it 3 hours? You've got to see this. I mean, how do I not scratch that belly? Sorry, I get distracted easily. Question 4. What kind of walk does Jimmy do in front of his friends? Does he skip? Take giant steps? Does he do rooster strutting? Or duck waddling? Some interesting choices there. Question 5. What ate half of the pie? Was it a stray dog? A hog? One of Jimmy's friends? A stray cat? Which one of those ate half of the pie? Who does Deza and Jimmy share the rest of the pie with? So after you answer question 5, it will help you to cancel one out of question 6, one of the options, because it says who do they share the rest of the pie with, not the first half. Is it the person who made it, Jimmy's friends, a poor woman and her children, or a stray dog? Last question for chapter 2. How old is Jimmy? We found the answer to this question in our chapter today. Is he 4, 21, 17, or 15? All right, I hope you enjoyed chapter 2. I am highly anticipating chapter 3 with it being called The Pie Lady's Revenge. I wonder what's going to happen. I'm curious. I hope you have a good rest of your day, a good evening. For me right now, while I'm recording this, it is the early evening, late afternoon, so I am going to go and try to get some more exercise in. So I'm going to go and jump rope, and then I'm going to attempt to give these dogs a podicure. So that will be interesting. If I can keep these doggies still, maybe I will feature their pretty nails in tomorrow's video when we make a craftivity together. All right, have a good night. Bye.